many people in this business, I was kind of recruited into a captive organization, serving the senior market, selling final expense, a little bit of Medicare supplements, an annuity here or there, and some ancillary products to seniors. And I learned a lot at that first captive place. I mean, they, like a lot of captive places do, you train a lot of people for free. You go out and they promise you leads, you end up cold calling lists, right? So you learn a lot of skills, how to kind of train other agents, how to generate business when you don't have a fresh flow of direct mail or Facebook leads or seminars or whatever. So I really appreciate the place that I started because I feel very well-rounded where I'm at today. But don't start there if you can avoid it. I'm not encouraging it. That's just making the most out of it. Like Dave mentioned, Ethan and I, who is the other Medicare Millennial, we do have a YouTube channel. It's a wealth of knowledge that is absolutely free. We do not try to convince anyone on our channel to do anything other than enjoy our content. And we try to be very open and honest. I will not play the Kool-Aid game. I'll tell you my experience, where I've had success, where I've had failure, and so hopefully I'll be able to do that for you guys today. So let me clarify something before I jump into the meat and potatoes of it. I truly, just from my experience, I don't believe that grassroots marketing is the easiest and the best way for a new agent to get into the Medicare space. And the reason for that is because there's so many variables that you cannot control when you're trying to create local relationships to bring business to yourself. So you don't know how long that's going to take, which of these methods is going to work best for you. And so because of that, we all typically come into this business on a budget, and maybe even a negative budget. We may be borrowing money to get started. So what we need is consistency. So many of the things guys like Evan McGuffey and others talked about today about getting on a consistent lead plan and sticking with that is exactly what I would encourage the majority of new agents to do. Okay, and then as time goes on, I know you hear this and it sounds cheesy, but if you really just stick it out, you'll begin to build a foundation on which the next level of different types of marketing can be added. You know, you see a guy like Luis Moreno up here who just has massive success. And I bet sometimes he looks back and when he got into the business, however long, 8 or 9 years ago, and just there was one foundation that he originally laid and is built and built and built and built. So most people in this room, I presume, are just trying to lay that first foundation. So I say all of this to tell you, I think the best thing you can do is to pick one lead strategy to really go all in on it first, get you experience, get some cash flow. And some of the ideas that I'm going to give you today are things that you can begin to add on. And hopefully, eventually, they can overtake most of your outbound, sending money to leads to where eventually you got calls coming into. Okay, so just want to clarify that. So I've got several things that I have dived into this past year and a half. And one of the first things that I tried was free educational Medicare seminars, okay? But the brainchild of that was Ethan and I had a friend who was a financial advisor in Dallas. And they say financial advisor, I think they did annuities, but neither here nor there. They put on financial classes at some colleges around Dallas to entice people to come in and get an education and about retirement and Social Security, and hopefully they could build some trust, educate, and convert those people into their clients. They were having trouble getting people through the door, and so they wanted to add a Medicare course because they knew that would bring in seniors and tros, and that's where a lot of money is in this country, right? Is with our baby boomers. And so they said, we don't want any of your commission. We don't have to be, we just need a couple of fresh faces that will come in here and educate and bring value so that we can get them to sign up for the next class and the next class, right? So you can see what they were doing there. So we went and did it, and it was a blast. I mean, it was a great, we didn't even have to get the people through the door. They marketed it, and we just showed up and educated. And we saw a lot of value in that, so we started making plans, like how can we just go all in on selling, at this point it was Medicare supplements, and duplicate this. And then wouldn't you know it, right then was when COVID hit. And so everybody knows, even here in Texas, where we got back to business as usual pretty quick, there was a good lengthy delay where it was, you weren't getting a bunch of seniors to come sit in a room together for a while, right? So we put that all on pause, and but we were sold on this Medicare thing, the renewals at that point. And we were tired of, we loved Final Expense and some of the other products we sold. I've made 6 figures every year since the second year I was in the business. It wasn't a matter of not making money, it was a matter of how many years am I going to keep doing this to produce that 6-figure income. And that little veil being pulled back, seeing what kind of renewal potential there was in Medicare, we knew we wanted to get in it. We couldn't do this seminar route right away. And that's we ended up getting in touch through Dave and Matt and with 360, and we just jumped all in with their basic plan. I mean, it was simple. Come in, we've got a great lead program, focus on your Medicare products and duplicate it, and so that's what we did. You know, as I built my foundation, I already had renewals from various products I had sold, from Final Expense to dental to hospital indemnity and cancer plans. Then my renewals started coming in from Medicare. And I knew that I wanted, however long it took, to find a few ways to start making the phone calls come to me. Because Medicare is a high renewal business, guys. It ain't like Final Expense. You don't have to beg them to call their sister and tell them how good of a job you did. When it comes to Medicare, you go in a home and you do a good job, you build a relationship, you should be getting a referral nearly, at least one, for every customer, a minimum of 1 referral per year from each customer, minimum. A lot of times you may get 5 or 10 throughout the year. So with that being said, I wanted to find a way over time to transition off of leads slowly. I'm not cutting off my lifeblood, guys, all right? That's not what I did there. I still buy leads weekly. But I wanted to transition into some grassroots marketing. Okay, so kind of I always want to make sure y'all understand where I'm coming at with this, so you know maybe at some point in your trajectory where it might be a good time to start incorporating these things. But one of the first things I did was I just went to some senior living facilities, okay? And when I say senior living facilities, I get a lot of questions. I do not mean nursing homes. That's not really the ideal place to do this. Independent, 55 plus, they're all over the place, right? So these people, yeah, they may have health issues, but they're relatively independent. They make their own decisions. They're not on hospice, right? Like they're active senior people. And so what I do is I'll go into it and I will ask for the event coordinator or the community manager. They're usually going to be called something like that. And I'll tell you exactly what I tell them when I come in. First of all, I introduce them. I only do this locally. By the way, how many people in here are from the DFW area? Okay, how many are not from right around here at all? So it's about 50-50. So I live down in Granbury, which is southwest of Fort Worth, and I do not work in Fort Worth unless it's a referral. I never have. I work 4 or 5 counties surrounding Granbury. They're all pretty rural, okay? So I love the local aspect of my Medicare business. I believe it's paying dividends. I get a lot of referrals from that. So when I go and I walk into a senior living facility, which there's lots of them around Granbury and Weatherford, I ask for the event coordinator and I just introduce myself, say, hey, my name is Kenny Lannons. I'm actually a local Medicare agent here in Granbury. And I know that you guys are probably always looking for fun, engaging, or educational activities for your tenants. And I know we're just now getting back to normal from COVID where we can do things again, so I'd love to offer to help you fill your schedule. What I do is I provide about a 30-minute fun educational class about how Medicare works. I do no selling while I'm here at your facility, not a bit. I give some giveaways and I educate. And then if they would like to sign up for an appointment with me, I'm local, I'll meet with them after. So all walls are down. There is absolutely, the only way that they wouldn't let me do it is if they already had a relationship with a Medicare agent or they weren't interested in providing value and education on the #1 things on their tenant's mind, which is Medicare. because it's the only insurance in this room that is sold that every senior thinks about every single day is Medicare, right? It's always on their mind. And so they're not going to tell you no very often unless they've had a bad experience, they're not trying to do events. So let me give you the pros and cons on that. The negative to it is a lot of times you can't do it very often. You can do it maybe twice a year. I tried doing it quarterly at one of my favorite facilities, and you just didn't drop. These places don't have 5,000 tenants. You know, they may have a couple hundred. So to stay fresh and to make sure you don't waste your time, you only want to do it depending on the size of the facility, and I don't have that down to a science, but 1 to 2 times a year per facility. And then what you want to do is maintain that relationship with that event coordinator and just send her, he or she, an email every now and then. Let her know, hey, once the busy Medicare season comes back, I'm going to stop in, I'll bring you your favorite coffee, and we can schedule the next class. Okay. I'm going to be a part of the Q&A after this pretty shortly. So if we have time here in a minute, y'all can bombard me with a few questions, and then I'll stick around to answer as many questions as you want after I speak at the Q&A. So that's one way that I've really enjoyed, is just going out there and making relationships with event coordinators. All right, now here, this next one, I get made fun of a lot for this one, okay? Have any of y'all ever watched Better Call Saul? Yeah, you better bet I call bingo at the senior center. I do, I love it. It is the funnest time. I feel like a bingo pro now. In fact, they do bingo 4 days a week at the Parker County Senior Center in Weatherford. And I try to call there at least twice a month. The only thing it costs me is the hour of time, and I have to bring the blackout prize, which is a $15 Whataburger gift card. That's what I always do. So it costs me $15. You walk into the senior center, they're always looking for, in fact, at most of them, they don't even want you to sponsor the event. They're not saying, hey, for $100, excuse me, you can sponsor this bingo. All they're looking for is community engagement and somebody willing to bring that blackout gift, which is, like I said, $15 or $20. Guys, this costs almost nothing. And it's pretty fun. In fact, every time I come back, they're like, finally, you're back. Doesn't anybody know how to call bingo? Because I've learned, like, you speak loud, speak clearly. I've always known that since working with seniors, but they particularly love me because since I keep coming back, I call bingo the way they want bingo called, right? And so everything that I'm going to talk about today is about relationships. You are not going to make there's about 50 people at every one of those bingos. I call it other senior centers. This is the busiest one, though, one I've been at longest. And I've been doing that there for about 10 months. And I'd say I've probably made about 35 to 40 sales from that. But the most of those came in the last 4 months, okay? So most of the tips and tricks that I'm giving today take time. I can't tell you how many little educational seminars I gave that didn't work out and I knew I didn't need to go back to that place. I can't tell you how many things I tried that I was like, man, this isn't worth my time. Like I could have been out knocking on doors on my old leads. So that is, again, I'm just telling you guys, this is going to take time to find what's right in your communities and what's going to return on investment. You have to be patient. You have to be and stick with it. You need to have a lead flow and a plan every week, and you need to be doing these things in the evenings when you're done working your leads or on the weekends, okay? So the senior center thing is great. Once you make a relationship there, they call me for everything. Do you want to sponsor Santa? Do you want to, they call me all the time. Yeah?
So how do they associate you with Medicare? Do you talk about Medicare? Do you wear a shirt? Like, how do they know that you're Medicare?
Yeah, so when I get up there, I get to introduce myself, tell them what I do. So I just say something like, hey, morning everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Kenny Lamons. I live right down the road here. I'm a local Medicare agent. Can you believe it, guys? You don't have to call a 1-800 number to get some help with this stuff. And guys, even though it's not the Medicare open enrollment period right now, for some people, did you know if it's not working for you, you might be able to change any time of year? So I'm going to call bingo for you all today, but if you have any questions, you're having any trouble with your Medicare plan, I would love to talk to you after this. Pretty simple, right? I always also try to clarify that I do not work for Medicare. because I don't even want, any tenured Medicare agents in the room here? We got it? Right, Chad. How bad does it bother you when you get a referral and they're like, hey, can you help my mom get on Medicaid? Like, that's all they want from you. It's like people have trouble, they think you work for the government, and it's like, I don't know, that's not what I do, but anyway. So I'm just going to keep going down the list. I don't know where I'm at on time, but of things that I've done that have worked pretty well, that I really enjoy. The next one that I'm going to share with you guys is probably my favorite. I'm actually investing a lot of money into this right now. It took me 8 months to even get it working at all, but it's working so well now. So what I do is I call a lead company. I don't care which one, Lead Concepts, Need a Lead, Kramer, I don't care. Call somebody that sells Turning 65 lists. I would buy it though, because there are ways you can get that data for free, but I feel like it's not as updated. So I like to go ahead and buy it. You can get like 5,000 people turning 65 over the next year for like 150 bucks. We're not talking a lot of money here. So you can buy that data. I don't even get phone numbers. That's why it's so cheap. Don't need phone numbers. Y'all hear me out. I'm not calling these people. When I have that data, it comes in an Excel spreadsheet. I assure you guys I'm not sick. Has anybody else's allergies just been crazy? And I sat there, not talking much, so it's all settled in. Anyway, with that data, y'all listen carefully here. I'm telling you exactly how I do this. Got the data now. I log into VistaPrint. Sure, there's other websites you can do it. This is the easiest one I've found. I go to their postcard mailing templates. Okay? I pick one that looks like the picture of me and my 2 beautiful children and wife are going to fit well on. And I customize it. I put something like this. I've changed it up a million times. As long as there's a picture of you and your family and you say you're a local agent, that's really all that matters. But so there's a picture of me and my family and it says, turning 65, question mark. I'm a local agent and I'm here to help, exclamation point. And then I'll put just some very basic information like, you don't have to call a 1-800 number. I'd be happy to meet you in person, by phone, or by text. And my phone number is right below that. And then on the back side where the postage stuff goes, I'll write some verbiage, something like, don't get lost in a sea of advertisements. Keep your business local. It costs nothing for you to work with me. I represent virtually every Medicare company in this area. Again, it costs nothing to work with you. Something along those lines. It's not rocket science here, guys, right? But these are only being mailed out within about an hour radius of me. And I'll also put something like proudly serving Parker, Palo Pinto, Hood, and Johnson County. And then I'll also put on there that I live in Granbury. So, funny enough, the closer, Granbury is where I get the most calls from, but I still, even just by saying that I represent those, I proudly serve those counties, differentiates me from anybody that they've spoken to, right? Like, I'm not a financial advisor that offers one Medicare supplement if I happen to stumble on Medicare. I am a full-time Medicare agent, and you are going to be helping my family by using me at no extra cost. So I mail these, and they mail them for me. So now I've got the data, I've got the card. It's all I have to do is type some stuff in, upload a picture, and click next, and then say, would you like us to mail this for you? And you're going to click yes. And then you're going to upload that list of people. The sweet spot for me is right now is September 20-something. So if I was doing a mailing today, I would mail probably December, January, and February. So about 2 months out. Right, so their birthday isn't until December. Sorry if I didn't clarify that. These are people turning 65. I don't want to mail to somebody who turns 65 October 1st. They've already made their decision. They're not going to call me. They've already been bombarded for months. But I also don't want to mail so far out that that they're the people that want to go to 15 educational seminars, call 20 companies. You see, so the sweet spot there is that their birthday is about 2 to 4 months from today, give or take, okay? Another little tidbit, I mail, so when I mail next month, on October 22nd, then what dates would I do? About January, February, March. But notice, I already mailed those same people. All I left out was December. I'm remailing the January and February birthday. So they're gonna end up getting 3 cards from me before I've moved on. Do you follow me? So, and every one of them is gonna have a different picture of me and my kids and my wife. And my wife's loving it because she says, when are we gonna have family photos? I said, I need new ones every quarter. So we're actually signed up. My wife loves it. She's like, what, really? I said, yeah, I need them because I cannot tell you guys how much business I've gotten that sounded just like this. Hey, hello, this is John White. Are you really from Granbury? Your family is so cute. And that's what all they talk about. And then I just say, well, what time can I come over? And I'll be there today, tomorrow, whenever you want, you know. That's really what this strategy is all about. It's all about that personalness. So you're gonna click next, upload that list of people based on what ages y'all wanna mail, and then they're gonna mail it for you. It ends up costing less than 50 cents per postcard, guys. So if you wanna mail to 500 people, it's only gonna cost you around 250 bucks. If you want to mail to 2,000 people, it's going to cost you under $1,000. That's about the price of direct mail. A direct mail piece, when I say that, like if you just are, the leads that we all work and love and they're our bread and butter cost about the same. Now the difference here is, unless you're ready to invest a ton of money, you can't guarantee they're going to call you back. When you get a generic postcard back from direct mail, you can show up at their house. It's on you now, right? So that's more stable. It's more guaranteed. You got people to see. What I'm doing here depends on them calling me back. I do not get to go knock on their doors, so, technically speaking, although you can. And I tried that one month, and it works really well. So you mail it out, and then have your wife put them all in order, and then you go door knock and say, hey, have you got my postcard yet? You're turning 65 in a couple months. That works really well too. But I guess I'm kind of like Steven. It was a lot of hard work, and I'm lazy, so I haven't been following up with those door knocks. But if Evan did that, he'd probably make $1 billion sales because he would follow up on everyone. Do you all understand what I'm saying? So I mail out the postcard, then I go through that data and I sort out their addresses. And you knock on the door and I'm like, what are you doing here? Say, well, you're turning 65. Have you got my postcard yet? That's all. That's literally all you said, and then the conversation goes from there. Questions about that, real briefly? Yeah.
Do you have any idea what kind of charge you're getting?
Yeah, so it's been about 1%. Well, about one. So if I send 500, about 5 people call me. But guess what, guys? This is brand new to Medicare. Most of them are buying a Medicare Advantage plan because of it. That's just because, not necessarily because they're lower income, but DFW has great Medicare Advantage plans. So that's what, just call it $600 a pop.
Out of those 5, how many you typically sell?
5.
Oh, all of them.
Almost everyone. The only exclusion would be if they're like, hey, do I need to sign up for Medicare? I'm going to keep working at Lockheed Martin for 5 more years. And the answer is no, right? Anybody else that calls me, it's a guaranteed lay down. So there's a lot of power there. And also, so it's high commission. The easiest people to cross-sell are people turning 65. Hey, what am I going to do about my dental and vision? What am I going to do? Oh, my life insurance, I don't get to take it with me. They're used to paying for these little things. So when you tell them their plan's $0 a month, I don't even tell them that anymore because they're getting a Heartland National Hospital Indemnity product with every single person that I see. And it's easy because in their mind, they're like, I paid way more than that at work. I better lock this in now because my income's about to be fixed. And that's what I tell them. I say, I wouldn't overthink this. Your income, you're not going to be working anymore. Whatever we need today, we need to get done today because your income is going to be fixed from here on out. Kind of the way that I approach them about that. Any other questions about postcards? Pretty simple. Yeah.
You said you can actually go knock on their door just because you mail them a postcard?
It's not, there says not one word about Medicare Advantage on that postcard. I'm helping them enroll in Medicare. They're 2 months out from getting a plan. Yeah, so you can knock on their door just like a med sub salesman or a final expense salesman, no problem. Yeah. So you would get a permission to contact at that point if you wanted to make sure you were compliant. Say, hey, I was able to show you how Medicare is going to work. We didn't go over any plans, but can I have permission to contact you when you get your card here? To do it. It's okay.
Do you have to email the lead companies for the data? Because they don't sell that, they don't market that as a normal product, right?
No, you have to call. And some of them don't like to do it because they prefer they think that you're just trying to make your own postcard mailers, which we are, but it's different, right? Like you're not trying to do what they do. They do something, we need them for that. So yeah, you gotta call and ask for that data. But you can get it, you don't just have to go through the lead companies. I just think they've got the best data because their business depends on it, right? Like they're helping us get our mailers every month. So, where am I at on time? Still, okay. Another thing that I think people, let me also clarify, the reason I'm investing, I could be making more money if I just tripled down on my regular lead flow. But what I envision for me, just for me, is to have several thousand clients in a small geographical area that all know me personally and I have a reputation in that area. And so while I believe the best way to build that foundation is through a straightforward direct mail lead process. If your goal is similar to my goal, eventually you're transitioning to getting your name and your face in that community to generate those calls coming into you. And so these things that I'm sharing with you are things you can do for little to no cost on top of your direct mail campaign over time. For me, I do not want to sell statewide unless it's a referral, much less across the country. Why? Because my persistency is amazing because I know every single plan in these around here inside and out. In fact, you cannot tell me a doctor in any county west of Fort Worth that I don't know their name. Because they all go to the same 30 doctors. I know them all by memory now, so if they say, I see Dr. Brooks Smith, I know exactly which plans they take. When somebody calls these folks and offers them a benefit-rich plan, your doctor's in network. What they don't know is there's no skilled nursing or rehab facilities in network with that plan. You gotta drive all the way to Dallas. Well, guess what? They're gonna cancel your plan the moment that they find out they have to drive to Dallas for that. But I know that, so I would never sell them that plan, so I know what's in network and what's not. So by tightening your geographical region, you truly become an expert in the plans in your area. Now, that's not to discourage working statewide or nationwide. Just understand it's different, right? You kind of probably have a little bit more attrition the bigger your area is because you're not quite the expert as you are in time and energy. So, another thing that I just have found, this one takes time, but it's just so important, is networking groups. So in most of the towns that are like Medicare Gold, which to me is towns from 5 to 40,000 people, I've just found, to me, those are like Medicare Gold. They're big enough that they've got people turning 65, but they're small enough, your name gets around town. You know what I mean? If you're part of the chamber and you go to those coffee and connections once a month, or there are no Medicare agents. There are none. You're the only one. So all 40 other small business owners at those chamber events or those networking events are like, well, what do? Are you another real estate agent? You another PNC agent? No, I sell Medicare. And they're like, what? What's that? People sell Medicare? Oh my God, can you talk to my mom? Like, you're the only one. And so you develop those relationships, and all these other business owners just pass you that business. And Luis said it best, man. These PNC agents, they don't want to mess with, they got enough on their plate with all their service work and whatnot. They will pass, you want to make relationships with PNC agents as best as you can. Financial advisors, they're going to send you needier clients that all want a Plan F that doesn't exist anymore, but they insist that it does. Anyway, it's still business is business, right? You just got to educate them. But the networking that I've done took a lot longer, but I feel like those are my strongest and most consistent referrals that have been coming in over the past 6 months or so are from networking groups. And I'm in a paid networking group called BNI. That one's pretty good, but you do pay for that one. Most of the networking events I do are free. So they're just, like I said, chamber events, just where other business owners are getting together. Let me tell you a few things I don't like doing, just as a Medicare agent. I don't like sponsoring high traffic booth events. Maybe y'all can do it better than me, but when seniors are at events, like for instance, where I live, there's a big thing called Brock Hometown Christmas. Everyone from town is there. There's a million booths, everyone's having a blast. You know what grandma and grandpa are doing? They're buying candy for their grandkids at that event. They do not, I have to go chase them down. I'm not used to that. When I'm at the senior center, they're all about me, but if they're at a family event, I just haven't had as good a luck with seniors. I bet those events are way, way, way better for ACA and Obamacare, but they're just a little harder for me as far as seniors go. Okay, y'all want me to expand on anything? Any questions about grassroots marketing? Yeah.
BNI, I've been to some of those, and they can be really profitable for you. How do you connect with a BNI, for example?
Yeah, so it's such a big organization, you can just go online to their main website, and they will show you any local chapters in your area. And they will also show you how to start your own chapter if there's not one in your area. I don't want to do that, but it's a powerful tool. Let me tell you a little bit about BNI. Here's what's different about it. There is only one line for every business. So we've got 40 members in my Weatherford Parker County BNI group. A doctor, a dentist, electrician, plumber, PNC agent, life and health agent, go on down the list. There can be no other life and health agent in that group. And if they don't meet their quota of referring business within the group, they get kicked out of the group. So this isn't like a fly-by-night deal. We are committed to giving each other business. So it's a little more serious than your coffee and connections at the chamber. But you can find one of those chapters online. Guarantee you there ain't going to be a Medicare agent in there. So go lock it down at all 20, 30, 40 people in there. They have nobody else to even compete with. You're going to be their person. So, yeah.
Kenny, you mentioned about buying the T65 leads. How many leads do you get for $150?
No, so I buy the T65 data. Okay, so that's just the raw data. And that's where I go on Vistaprint and I have them mail out the postcard to me and my family.
But you get the list.
It was like $150 for, this can obviously be way more, but mine was like 2,000 people, something like that. Yeah. And I only buy mine every 4 months out because I'm paranoid that if I buy it a year's worth of data, that it would be updated before I got to the end. You know what I'm saying? Because although seniors don't move as much around here, it seems like we got people moving in all the time from all over the country. So I want to keep my data as fresh as I can and get the most return on investment. And also, I know we just at least got a couple minutes left here. Dave, how many minutes? Okay. You can ask me about anything real quick about Medicare. It doesn't have to be just grassroots.
The AAP seminars, when you're going to the senior living places, they already know Medicare because they're on it, right?
Some of them.
Yeah, so what are some things that you talk about, cybersecurity or things like that? What are some things you cover on this page to add value and to make people different?
Well, that's actually a great idea. I haven't really thought of adding any, something like cybersecurity tips would be excellent. I literally just let them know what the premiums and copays are changing for the 2023. You know what I mean? And then I make a bunch of jokes and I talk about, do y'all know who got the very first Medicare card? Who signed the very first Medicare card? It was LBJ, and you just go through all. It is a simple 20-minute deal. This isn't it's supposed to be an educational activity for them. So we play a couple quick games. I let them know what's changing, and then I scare them a little bit at the end. You know, I say, listen, what I went over with you guys today was just the very basic changes. Did you know that every single person in here on a Medicare plan is subject to that changing every single year? That there is no guarantee that your Medicare plan is going to be accepted by your doctors the year after that. So if you have not had somebody that you trust, just take a look at your situation every year. I would love to help you out. So it's a lot different than a Turning 65 seminar, right? So Turning 65 seminar, you're up there in a suit, you got an hour-long presentation, you better be on point. These people have been YouTubing, Googling, researching. No, this is a room of people, you know, 64 to 85 that are just coming to get free coffee and cookies, and Medicare is always on their mind, so it's a good one for them to show up to. So it's a little more laid back. Do we have another question? Oh, right.
First cup of water there if you need it.
Thank you.
And then.
Oh, no, okay, perfect. Thank you.
And then, what, so that's one question. This is one. You mentioned financial advisors, you mentioned PNC agents. Anybody else that you would see as a point of influence that you would recommend
Doctors.
networking with?
Doctors, but for whatever reason, I cannot speak too much on that. I have one doctor that got to know me through a mutual friend that refers everything to me, but like the 2 or 3 times that I have tried to walk into a doctor's office and make a relationship, I pretty much got called a handout. That does not mean I know people. We know people that have built businesses on doctor's offices. I just personally haven't put enough time or got enough education to successfully do that yet. So I don't want to speak on something that I haven't had a lot of success doing. But doctor's offices would be probably better than your PNC guys even, right? Because they already trust their doctor's office.
And then, I just remember my other question. You said you're focusing on the surrounding, like 5 counties or so. How far out are you driving? What's your threshold, I guess, like too far?
It was a lot further 3 years ago. I would go 2 or 3 hours into wherever I could get leads, wherever I could get a referral. And this is also going to depend how many people are in how rural your area is. I would say, honestly, at this point, if it's not within an hour drive, I am going to try to do it over the phone. Or, you know, so like for my geographical areas, like within a 1 hour drive. So I've got enough people and enough base of clients to milk that area. But 90% of it comes from 2 towns, really, Granbury and Weatherford. And then all the surrounding towns supplement it, the littler towns around there. Yes, sir.
Do you ever confirm that they're ready to enroll into Medicare before going to their house? You know, as far as, you know, a lot of people turning 65 aren't actually going to enroll into Medicare yet.
Oh yeah, I have like a 3 or 4 minute conversation with them when they first call me. This is a little warmer than a regular generic direct mail lead. When we're pre-qualifying a lead, let's say a direct mail lead about Medicare savings program, extra help, it's real generic, right? Like the leads that we recommend at 360 to get to be your baseline. We don't want to overqualify them. We just want to get just enough because it's a cold, they don't know us yet, and we don't want to ruin the opportunity to speak. So we only qualify a very little bit, right? The minimum that we need. With these people calling me back for my postcards, they're ready to do business with me. So I spend 3 or 4 minutes just, where do you live? And then I started asking them, are you retired yet? I qualify all of that. And then from there, I book the appointment. Because it's a lot warmer, so you're able to just dive right into those questions. Yeah. Just any general questions at all about Medicare? I'll love to answer. I'll hit you with the truth.
About keeping your customers that you've already signed up.
Such a great question. So let me tell you what's worked best for me. Number 1, spend a little bit more time with every customer. Okay? Like for a little bit when I was, not the volume Evan's doing, but when I first went out of the gates, my volume was a lot higher. And I think that's the best way to learn and really get some knowledge and experience. But I would get in too big of a hurry and I'd be in and out. And if I can't remember their face when they call and tell me their name, that, you know what I mean? Like that's a recipe for losing people. Spend just a few extra minutes before you leave that house, what I call the cool down. We're not talking business. I've already closed the business, but I'm gonna spend I know I gotta go, but 5 or 10 minutes just getting to know them a little bit better, walking I have a business card with a picture on it that has a magnet, and I walk it to their fridge, I say, where do you want it? And then I put my number in their phone, just like Evan's. I spend a couple minutes doing that, slow down a little bit with each customer, offer a cross-sell to every customer. I like to stay in my lane, you know, like I really do. I like working with seniors, but you don't, that cross-sell, at least offer final expense and hospital indemnity to minimum. Because they all need it, and if you get 2 or more products in a home, your retention rate goes up tremendously. Okay, so that's a big one, is slowing down and offering complementary products. And then the third thing is what do they call it? Top of mind, whatever it is. The more they can see your face, the more that they're going to think about you when they receive those calls. So I send a quarterly postcard. I have an Excel spreadsheet with the name and addresses of every single customer. Guess what? If they canceled on me, they don't get out of that Excel spreadsheet. They get a quarterly postcard from me. Because eventually, if they did switch to a crappier plan, first time they try to go see their specialist, they're going to call me back. They will be my customer again. So I send a quarterly postcard without fail. Every single one of them's got a new picture of me and my family, and it's just a nice message, you know. Did you know that we offer hospital indemnity plans? Or it might say, are you using your over-the-counter benefits? Call me if you're not. So quarterly postcards are really, really big. And then coaching them. You do not be afraid to tell them. I tell every client, like, I know you know this, Ms. Smith. There's a lot of scam artists out there that like to target seniors, and there's a lot of slimy salespeople over the phone that just want to switch your Medicare plan. They'll promise you $12,000 a year back. Next thing you know, you didn't get $12,000 back, but you're not on the plan that we picked out for you anymore. So I would just encourage you not to give that Medicare number out to anybody that you don't know. You know you can trust me, so just tell them you've got an agent and call me. If something that looks good to you, you see a new plan on TV, I probably offer it. So just call me first. So I do a lot of coaching on the front end and really drilling into their heads for that retention. So that's what it's all about in this business, right? Because if we didn't give a crap about retention, might as well go back to final expense only, right? Anybody else?
I want to add one thing to that. So some of the agents, when they go out and write business, first of all, how many of y'all have been on Facebook today? Come on, just raise your hand. Who hasn't done it? I was on it. Okay, we're all on it all day long. If I write a senior, where she's happy, he's happy, whatever, just take a little picture. Okay? Take a little picture of your senior. Is it okay if I share you on my Facebook page? Most of them are not going to care. Then you can go on there and put a comment. Just, don't put any PII, no personal identifying information. Just help this beautiful senior with a great plan. She's going to get great, whatever, dental, whatever. Put it on there. How many people is that going to show up on? It's all about the right time. It's going to show up on somebody's feed, your feed. They may see it. Oh, I know he did Medicare. You show something like that, and you're doing it enough times, and it's popping up on other people's feeds. You're doing some free advertising there for yourself. So I think that taking pictures, what you're doing is great also, but just do that. It doesn't cost you very much. It's a picture and a post. It will go a long way. You will get business with it. Another happy senior, chick, whatever, do stuff like that. It will help out.
Do y'all have any more questions before we wrap up? Yes, sir.
Did you do much telesales? I mean, you said you had started right around COVID or at the beginning of COVID, so I'm guessing you might have done telesales to begin with then?
Yeah, it sucked.
Okay. So you might have back then?
You know, at that time when COVID first hit, there was something called call center status, which was basically independent agents really in most cases weren't supposed to be selling any Medicare Advantage over the phone. That's all changed. Obviously, we've got some wonderful tools now that we offer to help you do that. But yes, I did telesales. What it is here? Can't figure this thing out. What I used to do was I'd still work my local direct mail leads, and I would just tell them if they didn't know how to e-sign, I would say, hey, I'm gonna drop this enrollment kit in your mail in about 2 hours. And then you walk out there and you sign it from your front porch, and then I'm gonna come right back up and grab it. That's what I was doing. So.
Okay, and my impression is you went right back to the person as soon as you could and just quit. Okay.
I did, because what's the point in working a super direct, local direct mail campaign if you're not gonna meet them in person? Because that's really where that huge edge of retention comes from. If I'm gonna do telesales, I better at least be doing statewide, so I've got a ton of lead opportunities, you know. Oh, okay, hey, great. Thank you guys very much.